My mother-in-law walked into my home and announced, "I hired a lawyer. You'll be signing over your business to me." My husband smirked. "It's what's best." I smiled and said, "Funny, I just met with a lawyer too." When they saw the paperwork, they screamed because I should have seen it coming. The way they looked at me, the way they talked about my business like it was a hobby, the way my mother-in-law, Sylvia, always found a way to remind me that she had better plans for her son. It was all there, staring me in the face. But love makes you blind, doesn't it? You ignore the warning signs, convince yourself that people will change, that they mean well, that family wouldn't stab you in the back. But I was wrong. It started small, little things that didn't seem important at the time. My husband, Trey, would make comments about how much I worked. "It must be nice to set your own hours," he'd say when I came home exhausted. Never mind that my hours were twice as long as his. He'd scoff when I had to take business calls on weekends. He even suggested, more than once, that I hire someone else to run things so I could relax more. I thought he was just worried about me. Maybe he missed me. Maybe he felt like we weren't spending enough time together. I wanted to believe that. But then he started bringing up selling the business. At first, it was casual. A joke. Imagine if we just cashed out and traveled the world. Then it became, wouldn't it be nice to have more time for a family? Then, one night, I came home after a long meeting with my accountant and he looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Do you ever think maybe you should just sell it? You don't really need to work anymore." That was the moment I knew something was wrong. I had spent years building my business. I started from scratch, worked day and night, sacrificed sleep, missed out on vacations, poured my soul into making it what it was. And now that it was finally thriving, he wanted me to hand it over. Just like that. I laughed it off at the time. But I started paying more attention after that. And then Sylvia showed up at my house, unannounced. That woman had always found ways to put me down. From the moment I married her son, she made it clear that she didn't think I was good enough. She criticized everything, my career, my background, my cooking, of all things. She was the type of person who could look at a billionaire and say, "Well, I would have done things differently." She waltzed into my living room like she owned the place, sat down on my couch, and smiled like she was about to deliver the best news of my life. "I hired a lawyer," she said, pulling a stack of papers from her bag. "You'll be signing over your business to me."
I ser det her.
Trey walked in behind her, hands in his pockets, that same smug, arrogant smirk on his face. "It's what's best," he added. I didn't say anything. I didn't move. My brain was trying to catch up. Sylvia continued like she was doing me a favor. "A family business should stay in the family. Since you married into our family, it only makes sense that you," she kept talking. Something about how she had connections that would help the business grow, how I didn't need to stress about it anymore, how I could finally focus on being a wife. Then she slid the paperwork toward me. A full business transfer. She wasn't asking me to step aside, or let her be a partner. She wanted everything. My name, my business accounts, my entire company. I took a deep breath. Then I smiled. The kind of slow, eerie smile that makes people nervous. I reached into my bag and pulled out my own folder. "Funny," I said, setting it on the table. "I just met with a lawyer too." Their expressions changed instantly. Sylvia frowned and grabbed the papers. Her face twisted in confusion, then anger. Trey snatched them from her hands, read a few lines, and went pale. His voice cracked. You wouldn't." I tilted my head. "Oh, but I did." Sylvia's hands trembled as she flipped through the paperwork, her nails scraping against the pages like she was trying to claw her way out of a nightmare. Her mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. Trey, on the other hand, had gone completely still. His face drained of color, the smirk wiped clean off his lips. He swallowed hard. "This is a joke." I leaned forward, resting my elbows on the table, watching them crumble in real time. "No joke," I said calmly. "You wanted to play dirty? You should have done your homework first." Sylvia was the first to snap. "You conniving little." I held up a hand, cutting her off. "Before you go off on one of your dramatic rants, let me break this down for you." I pointed at the document. "That right there? That's a forensic audit. Do you know what that means, Sylvia?" She blinked, furious and confused. I didn't wait for her to answer. "It means I know exactly where every single penny in my business is gone, including the ones that mysteriously disappeared from my accounts and landed in yours." Sylvia's lips parted in a stunned silence. Trey took a shaky step forward, his voice barely above a whisper. That's not what you think." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, Trey." I shook my head, pretending to be disappointed. "You really thought I would notice? You thought I wouldn't see the missing money? That I wouldn't dig deeper? That I wouldn't find out my own husband was stealing from me?" Sylvia spun toward him, so fast I thought she might break her neck. "You told me she wouldn't know."
Ah.
There it was. The moment when the predators turned on each other. Trey flinched. Mom, Sylvia grabbed the papers again, scanning through them desperately. Her hands were shaking so badly, she could barely focus. This is fake. I raised an eyebrow. Really? Because my lawyer says otherwise. Oh, and guess what else my lawyer has? I reached for another document and slid it toward them. Sylvia stared at it like it might explode. Trey took one glance before his knees nearly gave out. A cease and desist order. A legally binding order preventing either of them from making any further attempts to claim my business. Sylvia let out a choked laugh, but there was no humor in it. You can't just... I cut her off. Oh, but I can. And I did. Trey's jaw clenched. Why the hell would you do this? We're married. We're supposed to. I raised my hand again and he stopped talking. Good. I picked up the last document in my folder. My voice was light, almost casual. Oh, and this? This is my personal favorite. I flipped it toward them. Sylvia barely glanced at it. She was still too busy trying to process the fact that I had backed them into a legal corner. But Trey? Trey's eyes locked onto the first few lines, and he stopped breathing. His lips parted. He looked at me, his eyes desperate, searching. No. No, you wouldn't. I tilted my head, smirking now. Say it, Trey. Say what you're looking at. He was shaking. Actually shaking. Divorce papers. I crossed my arms. Did you really think I was going to let you and your mother take everything I worked for? That I was just going to hand it over like some idiot? Sylvia turned on him again. You told me she wouldn't fight back. Trey didn't respond. His whole body was stiff, his breathing uneven. He was breaking apart. Good. Sylvia grabbed the papers again, but this time, she was focused on the divorce filing. Her eyes skimmed over the contents, and then she let out a guttural, animalistic scream. I knew the exact moment she saw the clause. The one that stated Trey would leave with nothing. No house. No business. No money. He had signed a prenup. And he had forgotten. Trey was already spiraling, hands in his hair, pacing like a man on the verge of collapse. Sylvia's face twisted in rage. You ruined my son's life. I leaned back in my chair, sighing dramatically. No, Sylvia. I just saved myself from a lifetime of being his personal aim. Trey's voice cracked. Please, we can fix this. We can... I held up a single finger. Get out. Silence. Sylvia's lip curled. You can't do this. I smiled. I already did. And that's when the real fight began. Sylvia's face was red now, her hands clenched into fists, her perfectly manicured nails digging into her palm. Trey was still standing there, his whole body locked up like his brain had short-circuited. But I wasn't done. I reached into my bag one last time, pulling out a USB drive. I twirled it between my fingers before setting it down on the table. Sylvia glared at it like it might bite her. What is that? I smiled sweetly. Oh, just a little insurance policy. Trey's breathing turned shallow. His eyes flicked from the USB to my face, and for the first time that day, I saw real fear. He knew. I tapped the USB. See, I had my lawyer run a little extra investigation. Turns out, Trey's been busy with more than just skimming money from my accounts. Sylvia looked confused. But Trey? Trey finally lost it. He lunged for the USB. Full body lunge. I was faster. I grabbed it off the table and stood up before he could even get close. Aha, I warned. That's not how we play this game. He was breathing hard now, hands gripping his hair, eyes darting everywhere like he was searching for an escape. This is insane. You have no idea what you're doing. I raised an eyebrow. Don't I? Sylvia slammed her hand down on the table. What the hell is on that drive? Trey didn't answer. Because he knew. I turned to her instead. Oh, just proof that your son has been cheating on me for the last 6 months. Silence. Pure, heavy, suffocating silence. Sylvia blinked. That's a lie. I tilted my head. Is it? She turned to Trey. He wouldn't look at her. Her lips parted. Her chest started rising and falling faster. Tell me she's lying. Trey said nothing. I took a slow step forward. I have texts, emails, hotel receipts, bank transfers. Oh, and the best part. I dangled the USB between 2 fingers. Security footage. You'd be amazed what people forget about cameras. Sylvia's hands were shaking now. She looked at Trey like she was seeing him for the first time. You, her voice cracked. You idiot. Trey finally snapped. He grabbed the back of his neck, his whole body vibrating with panic. Mom, just shut up for a second, okay? Sylvia gasped. Trey had never spoken to her like that before. She pointed a shaking finger at me. You planned this. You set him up. I shrugged. Did I? Or did he do this to himself? Trey turned back to me, his voice raw. Okay. You're mad. I get it. But we don't have to do this. We can fix it. I stared at him. Then I laughed. Laughed so hard I had to wipe tears from my eyes. Sylvia was looking between us, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. Trey took a desperate step toward me. Baby, please. I held up a hand, and he froze. Then I leaned in close, lowering my voice so only he could hear. You should have been smarter. His face crumbled. Sylvia was still stuck on the cheating. With who? She demanded. Who the hell would be stupid enough to sleep with you? And then, oh, this was about to be beautiful. I grinned. Oh, you're going to love this part. I pulled out my phone and swiped to a picture. Then I turned it around. Sylvia's soul left her body. She went stiff. Her eyes locked onto the screen like she had been hit with a brick. And then she screamed. A full, high-pitched, ear-splitting scream. Because staring back at her was a photo of Trey. In bed. With her best friend. Sylvia's lifelong best friend. The same woman she had lunch with every Wednesday. The woman she trusted with all her secrets. The woman she had known for 30 damn years. She shoved Trey so hard he nearly fell over. You slept with Marla? Trey's eyes were wide, like he couldn't believe this was happening. Like he had actually convinced himself he could get away with it. Sylvia looked like she was about to pass out. She pressed a hand to her forehead, wheezing. You absolute moron. You ruined us. I smiled. Oh, I'm just getting started. Sylvia was shaking. Her hands, her voice, her entire body trembled with rage, disgust, and something deeper, humiliation. You slept with Marla, she repeated, her voice barely above a whisper. My best friend. The woman who helped plan our wedding. The woman who... She stopped, blinking rapidly like she was trying to clear her vision. Then her eyes locked onto Trey, and something in her broke. Sylvia had always been in control. She had spent her life holding the upper hand, making sure she was the smartest person in the room, the one calling the shots. But now? Now, she was just another fool who had been played. Trey ran his hands through his hair, looking everywhere except at his mother. It wasn't. It just happened, okay? Wrong answer. Sylvia lunged. For a second, I thought she was going to hit him, but instead, she grabbed the divorce papers off the table and shoved them into his chest. Sign them. Her voice was shaking with fury. Sign them right now, you pathetic little idiot. Trey staggered back, gripping the papers like they were burning him. Mom, what the hell? She's giving you an out. Sylvia's voice was deadly. Take it. Because if you don't, I swear to God, I will drag you through a courtroom myself. Trey's head snapped toward me, his mouth opening, desperate. You put her up to this. I laughed. Laughed in his face. Oh no, Trey. You did this all on your own. His whole body deflated. For the first time, he realized there was no way out. I watched him break in real time. His mouth opened, but no words came out. He looked at his mother. Then back at me. Then at the papers. Then at the USB drive still sitting on the table. And he knew. If I walked out of here with that drive, I wouldn't just divorce him. I'd ruin him. The cheating? The embezzling? The proof that he had tried to forge my signature weeks ago? I could bury him with that. Trey sat down. His hands trembled as he picked up the pen. And then he signed. Sylvia let out a breath that sounded like a choked sob. But not out of sadness. Relief. She turned to me. Her lips pressed together in something that almost looked like respect. Then, she grabbed her purse, straightened her back, and walked toward the door. She didn't even look at Trey. He jumped up. Mom, wait, Sylvia didn't stop. She reached for the door handle, hesitated, then spoke without turning around. You're not my son anymore. Then she left. Trey stood there, frozen, as if her words had knocked the air out of his lungs. I watched him collapse into himself. His face twisted, his hands clutching his hair, his whole body shaking like a man who had just lost everything. Because he had. The money. The house. His business connections. His mother. And me? I took the divorce papers, the USB, and walked out without looking back. In the weeks that followed, I heard the fallout through mutual contacts. Sylvia cut Trey off completely. She wiped his name off every family asset. She even went after Marla, publicly. There was a very dramatic scene at their usual lunch spot that apparently ended with a plate of pasta being thrown across the restaurant. But Trey, on the other hand, he spiraled. With no money, no job, and no mommy to clean up his mess, he crashed. I heard he tried to stay with Marla, but she kicked him out within a week. Guess he wasn't as charming when he wasn't sneaking around behind someone else's back. The last I heard, he was living in a dingy apartment across town, waiting tables, trying to figure things out. I didn't care. Because I was free. The day the divorce was finalized, I threw myself a private celebration. I signed the final papers, transferred my business assets into a new, untouchable account, and changed my phone number. That night, I stood in front of the mirror, looking at myself, really looking. For years, I had been shrinking myself to make my marriage work, dulling my edges, softening my ambition, letting a man who didn't deserve me talk down to me like I was nothing.
But now?
Now I saw me. A woman who fought back. A woman who won. I smiled. A real, genuine smile. And for the first time in years, I felt free.